I often wonder why there's this collective mentality of feeling behind in life. Feeling unsatisfied with career, in our relationships, and even with ourselves is considered normal, which I think is such a travesty. Now, I can't say that I've never been caught up with the latest obsession or fallen victim to this mentality, because that would be a lie. I see my peers and people that I admire, and I think to myself, why can't I have that? The constant envy has burned a hole into my mind, and for years I strived to show my worth through my work ethic. I wanted to have all of these things to show other people that I wasn't a loser, a failure. Being behind in life is a thought that has plagued me for most of my adult life. Let's take my story back to 2021. I had a job in the field that I had studied in. I was making decent money, and I was given a lot of responsibility at work. From the outside in, it looked like I had a pretty sweet deal, but internally, that couldn't be further from the truth. Part 1. The fear of being unsuccessful. I have for a long time measured my self-worth in what I bring to this world, what I've accomplished, and how successful I've been. Before looking at why we place so much weight on our accomplishments, I think it's important we define what success is. Success, the attainment of wealth, favor, or accomplishment. After I left that job, I had this sense of relief, but was immediately struck with, what in the hell am I to do now? I felt that I needed to show others and myself how successful that I could be on my own, because I had left that stability. So I worked hard to try and get accolades, commissions, and make as much money as I could. It was a perpetual cycle that I was in. Instant gratification, and then free fall into the abyss of envy. I started to notice people on social media reaching milestones that I wanted to have. Each time I scrolled, I was caught up in feeling left behind, feeling like I was out of place. Engagement photos and smiling couples holding their keys to their brand new house. It was like life was taunting me with what could have been. Always believing that I had ruined my life and that I was destined to be unsuccessful. I look back now and see this fragile woman who needed external validation. I think we as a society place so much of our worth on what we have achieved or done in this world because we're told from a young age the only way to be successful is through extreme wealth. Instead of showing love and grace to ourselves, we stress over how the world will view us. We create scenarios in our head about, well, if I had this, or if I weighed this much, then my life would be so much better. Constantly pushing and pushing until we're exhausted. Always chasing, but never appreciating. So many of us are scared of being unsuccessful, no matter what stage of life we're in. I've spoken to many of my friends and family members about the idea of being behind in life, and I've come to understand that it's a struggle that many of us face. The fear of being behind in life, the fear of missing out in life, the fear of not having enough time in this life, the fear of judgment from others. We fear what life is and why it's not this perfect idea that we had made up in our minds. And that, to me, is ultimately how we become unsuccessful. Part 2. Discovering the meaning of life. Shortly after I visited my parents' off-the-grid cabin, I started to try and understand why I felt like I was behind in life. I had so many questions that I needed to be answered. Why do I believe that my life is over? Why do I feel like I can never be successful? What is the meaning of life? I remember sitting with my parents' dog Maggie, looking out over the lake, just sitting in silence and observing when it hit me. I felt so much joy and fulfillment in that moment. Well, tell us what happened. What did you see? What idea came to your mind? Absolutely nothing. I was alone and free of the fear of judgment. I knew that no one else in this entire world was having this exact same experience as me. We are all constantly chasing success and trying to have a meaningful life. But what is the meaning of life? Is life just a span of time that is meant to break our spirits? Or perhaps it's having so much fame and wealth like the definition of success suggests. I've come to realize that living a fruitful and meaningful life is all in the way that you appreciate it. Mom, how can you rip off Dad's leg? Oh no, Dad!
Give it back.
I look back to when I was a wild child, constantly exploring and enjoying every single day of my life. I wasn't happy because of my achievements or wealth, and I certainly did not think that I was behind in life back then. I was happy because I looked at this world with fresh eyes of appreciation and love. All of the late night deep conversations or the moments of silence in the car. When we start to look at our world with a lens of gratitude, we live a happier life because we're not caught up in trying to prove to others that we're successful. We're here to love and enjoy the time that we do have. Part 3. Redefining success. The idea of being behind in life is something that we put on ourselves because of insecurities and jealousy. Instead of putting guidelines on where people should be in their life, we should define our life and how successful it is by how fulfilled we are. Finding gratitude in every stage and situation of your life is what true success should be. Even though I don't own a home, I'm not married with kids, and I don't run a Fortune 500 company, I know I am right where I'm meant to be in my life. People like Morgan Freeman and Grandma Moses were not considered successful by our society until later in their lives. And that fact brings me so much comfort when I get caught up in the rat race of being ahead. Just because you don't have what the next person has doesn't mean that you're behind in life. No one will have the exact same set of experiences and achievements that you do, and that makes you unique. Create a successful life by being authentic and pursuing everything that you're interested in, not for others, but because you feel fulfilled by it. In the famous words of Joe Dirt, life's a garden, dig it. And that's exactly what I intend on doing.